What's up, world? Kong here, and in today's video I want to talk about the best legends for Season 3. I'm going to be going over the differences between Season 2 and 3, how I think the meta will shape up this season, and a tier list with champion analysis for the season as well. Alright, without further ado, let's get it! So before we jump into Season 3 meta, let's try and understand Season 2 a little bit more, and to do that we're going to look at King's Rock, the old map. So the champion meta without a doubt in pro play was Pathfinder, Wraith, and Watson. King's Rock was a little bit smaller of a map, and the way you played the team comp was you use Pathfinder to get you to the high ground, Wraith to reposition your team in sticky situations, and you use Watson to fence off your backside so you couldn't get blindsided. That's at least the basics. You watch highlights from Season 2 tournaments and you'll see there was a lot more than just that. In Season 2, it was a good idea to hunker down in a spot if you got run up on. Example, if someone is trying to breach the building your team's in, so you lay some fences and a Watson ultimate down and wait for them to make a move. In Season 3, this is not as great of a move. I've really noticed that building play in Season 3 is way different. Buildings are bigger and have more entrances and hallways to cover when you're inside. It's great because it allows the offensive team more creativity to breach the building, but terrible at the same time for the defending team because they have more to look out for. And that currently is what my friends and I struggle with when playing this game. I know the map is new and everyone is on the same playing field, but building fighting in this season is way harder than in previous. It takes a lot more skill to defend a building and way more teamwork as well. So along with buildings being more complex, the map is bigger too. It feels like more mid-range fights break out than in previous. It felt like the last season you were holding down a position and then you would take a couple snipe shots on the enemy team, knock one of them, and rush. It's still like that, but the charge rifle really deters you from doing so if the enemy team has one. So what I'm really saying is this. Last season's comp does not work anymore. You need more versatility than just positioning this meta. So many champs are good this season that you'll need to be ready for just about anything. Season 3 is all about fighting out in the open and doing your best to cross choke points without getting third party by like 5 teams. There are a lot more natural choke points in this map, and I've noticed that in ranked play that it really does affect the way the game is played. This season where nothing happens for more than 3 minutes and then everything happens the next minute. This season it's all about being able to move out in the open without getting knocked. Your squad needs to have someone with movement, someone who can provide cover, and someone who can provide intel ideally. Now I want to start getting into this season's champion tier list. When I start going over these, I want you guys to know that these aren't set in stone, and these are just my insights after playing a few weeks of Season 3 and the types of players I've come across in Gold and Platinum. So to start off this tier list, we're going to start with the C tier champions, and these are basically the worst champions for this meta at the moment. I don't think it'll come to a surprise that Bloodhound is at the bottom of this list. Even though he got buffed this patch, his utility is still very situational and it's not always useful. It's not that Bloodhound is a terrible champ, it's more like the map and the meta do not fit Bloodhound. In this season, Bloodhound got a pretty good buff though. His Eye of the Allfather, which is his tactical, got reduced animation by 33%. Now immediately tells you how many targets have been pinged, and his ultimate, Beast of the Hunt, had a FOV scaling issue that they fixed and reduced animation time by 30% to activate his ultimate. He also got an increased movement speed bonus from 25 to 30%. Even with all of that good stuff, there's still a lot missing in this kit, and actually me and my friend Schoochie talk about it a little bit in this clip.
The new champ just kind of makes Bloodhound a little bit more worse too, which sucks.
I know, that's the thing too, like you added a champ that just does what Bloodhound does better.
Yeah, and that EMP on him is just nasty.
Exactly.
I don't see how they're gonna make him great again. I really don't. You gotta pull a Trump on that motherfucker.
You need to pull an anti-Trump actually. Because they are trumping him pretty. Yeah, because they are trumping him pretty hard right now. Like, I just think that if his Q, like if when he queued, he got like a movement speed for a few seconds, like that would help him so much. And it was a bigger radius.
I think it needs to be a bigger radius. And I think it needs to go up multiple stories better.
And there you go. That's pretty much the in and outs of Bloodhound. Let's move on this champion tier list. Mirage has some utility in this meta, but it still feels like he's lacking in order to make it higher in this list. His Bamboozle is great for marking enemies that are in the area, and his ult provides him a great getaway. But it doesn't feel like he brings too much to the team other than that. I wouldn't put him in my competitive squad, but know that there are some comps out there that could work around Mirage. It's tough because I don't think Mirage is a terrible champ, and his ability to get away in the open is great, but his moveset is based around himself, making him a better solo champ than team champ. I do wish that he had some type of advantage over Krypto. I think that would make him at least a B tier champ if he somehow countered him. I'm not sure what it is because on paper it kind of looks like it's all there, but he's still missing something. Anyways, viable champ in bronze to plat elo, just not sure what he looks like after that. So that does it for our C tier list champions. Let's move on to our B tier list champions. Now these champions are just a little bit better just because of either the utility they have or their movement speed. So the first person I have on this list is Watson. And honestly, Watson plummets pretty far down this list compared to last season. Last season's map had compact buildings and tight spaces all around the map. In Meltdown, everything is more spaced out and the buildings are bigger, making it harder for Watson to hold down a building. It's pretty hard to play Watson this meta. This is coming from a Watson main. I find myself more often than not knocked in the middle of a field because I have no escapes from a sniper or no way to make cover for myself. Putting fences in open areas in this map just marks you for the other team to come kill you. With the added champion Krypto, it basically makes it impossible to hold down a fence position without his EMP wiping everything out. Furthermore, I've been playing Watson a lot more in ranked this past week. I think it's still mostly because I'm a Watson main and I'm learning how to play her effectively on this map. Watson works good for buildings, but realize you're more than likely just blocking one area off and then fighting them on another floor. This helps so that things don't get completely out of control, but you still have to keep moving around. Sitting in one spot more often than not will mark you dead. Sometimes you get a great final circle that benefits Watson within a tight space, but that doesn't always happen. When it does though, you'll be glad that you have her on your team. Plus her trophy system is still always great when placed in the right position, just because it blocks grenades and military strikes, and it also regenerates your shield. Moving on, let's go on to Lifeline. I think Lifeline is a little bit better than Watson this season because of her fast heals and healing drone. She provides health in early game fights and Krypto's EMP doesn't really destroy anything of hers. Again, she's not the best fit in this meta because she has no escapes, but she can definitely be a competent third in a competitive squad in my opinion. The fast heal items stack with Lifeline this season, making her an extremely deadly utility unit in any team comp. Coordinated teams would benefit from giving Lifeline the gold backpack so that she can revive teammates faster than any other champ with extra health quickly and efficiently. This comboed with Gibraltar's Dome Shield would make enemies feel useless as they can't kill any of her squad mates. In Bronze through Plat, she's an amazing third and will keep you and your teammates alive. Diamond Plus, she probably doesn't see as much attention because squads are more coordinated and capitalize off of mistakes faster. Her having no escapes leave her completely vulnerable out in the open and she would rely on teammates for help as she's being focused. Moving on, Octane. So Octane climbs the highest in the B tier list and is only here because he lacks utility for his team. The jump pad is great, but compared to a zipline or wraith portal, it's pretty subpar. He's great for escaping open areas, has lots of movement, is pretty viable this season in my opinion. Octane mains should have no problem shredding it up this season, although the team needs to make up for some of his lack of utility. Update: I've seen a lot of Octane players this season and they are killing it. Bronze through Diamond, I think this guy is going to be seeing a lot of playtime by the solo players in ranked. It's in a competitive squad and Apex tier that I feel like he won't be as prominent because he's outclassed in utility by other movement characters. A well-rounded champ with some subtle weaknesses who packs a big punch this season. So that does it for our B-list champions. Now let's move on to the champions who are actually going to be destroying this season. Moving on, Caustic. Caustic this season honestly is one of the better defensive champions this patch. His gas traps thrive well in spacious areas and work perfectly in building play because they cover so much area. His traps are easily hidden when you're playing out in the open, and when in need, you can throw up a couple gas traps in front of you for some quick cover to hide or heal. There weren't any major changes announced this patch to Caustic, and honestly, he doesn't need any. His kit fits the meta well, and I can't wait to see how he's played competitively. He got huge buffs for Season 3, and they're helping him dominate within the arena. This season, Gibby's Dome Shield now allows fast heals within the bubble. This Dome Shield is amazing out in the open, and in tight situations like when you're getting pinched, this really helps you out. His Airstrike ultimate really hurts and forces enemies to either reposition or risk taking serious damage. This stacked with his Arm Shield really makes Gibraltar a force to be reckoned with. So what did they do to him this season? So players in Gibraltar's Dome Shield now actually heal 25% faster. He can throw his Dome Shield 60% farther, and it's on an increased cooldown from 20 to 30 seconds. His ultimate, the Defensive Bombardment, has a decreased cooldown from 4.5 minutes to 3 minutes. Also a decreased duration from 8 seconds to 6 seconds, but he can also throw it 36% farther. They did a great job on Gibraltar this season. I honestly don't think he's overpowered by any means. He just definitely needs to be a champion that you consider putting in your team comp if you want to climb in rank. Moving on, Bangalore. Bangalore this season only got her Rolling Thunder ultimate increased damage from 20 to 40. Bangalore is super good for this map. Her smokes give great cover out in the open, and her double time makes her harder to shoot both in and out of combat. Her ultimate still isn't the greatest offensive move, but it does provide a good distraction for your team to move her to the next position. Bangalore is Bae this season, and you better damn well believe she'll be played a lot this season as she has a good mix of utility and offense. So that brings us to the end of our A tier list champions. The next champions on this list are going to be bar none the best champions for this meta, as they can move quickly or because of the utility that they bring to the table. So first on this list is Pathfinder. Pathfinder this season got a nerf to his grapple. The projectile velocity was reduced by 33%, meaning it takes a fraction of a second longer to connect the grapple to the wall. Basically, any Pathfinder main is going to notice this subtle nerf just because you can't grapple yourself as easily as before. His zipline got an increased cooldown from 90 to 120 seconds, and even with these nerfs, he is still a very strong champion for this meta. Fighting out in the open and dominating the high ground are things Pathfinder was meant to do. The zip lines are great for traversing the arena, and his ability to scan for the next ring gives teams a great positioning advantage. Be sure to look out for Pathfinder in a game near you. Moving on, Krypto. Krypto is a great addition to the Apex Legends list. His drone gives unmatched intel, as you can literally see where enemies are located, and this followed by his drone, EMP, really makes him hard to deal with, as he clears traps from champions like Caustic and Watson. But that's just the beginning. His drone can literally grab banners, which is so OP in my opinion, as you don't have to get yourself in danger in case that enemy team is camping your friend. You can also open loot boxes, which is nice in case enemies are in the area so you don't get spotted. They will hear your drone, but at least they won't know exactly where you're at. They'll just know that you're somewhat in the area. I really like this champ this season, and I know for sure he's going to be played a lot in competitive pro play. And last but not least, everyone's favorite dimensional rifter, Wraith. Wraith this season only got a slight nerf to her dimensional rift, which no longer deploys if you are down before placing it. It shouldn't be a surprise to anyone that Wraith is at the top of this list. Her movability is still hard to keep up with, as she can use her void walk to dodge shots and walk on lava. Her high skill cap portal has more diversity than ever, as she can use it to escape or to reposition for a team fight. It still just clicks with Wraith. She's amazing, and in most cases she is the best champion for this meta. So now that we've talked about all the champions and where they rank on this tier list, I want to say that I don't think that S tier champs are necessarily the best team comp. There are too many A tier champs to pass up on that bring so much to the team when given the chance to shine. Here's my top 3 guesses on pro team comps for Season 3. My first guess would be Wraith, Pathfinder, Gibraltar. For a team that likes to move at high velocity, you also got a Gibby to watch your back. I could see Gibraltar basically taking over for Watson, just because Watson isn't as good this season, mostly because you're out in the open and not nearly as in buildings as much. My second guess would be Wraith, Krypto, and Bangalore. This comp allows for movement, intel, and cover. A smart combo for the ultimate pro team. It's really tough to tell if this will honestly be the team comp, just because I only play at a platinum level and there's so much information that I miss going on from Diamond, Apex, and even to pro teams. I will say though, this comp does have a lot of versatility in it. I think what's going to be great about Season 3 pro tournament play is that there's going to be a wider variety of champions being played versus just your Pathfinder, Watson, and Wraith straight up team comp. My third pick is going to be Pathfinder, Caustic, and Gibraltar. This is for the troll in all of us, and you're going to be dropping gas and shields like it's hot. I think honestly, for me, Caustic is probably the most underrated champion of this season. And it's mostly because when you do see a Caustic, I feel like most people don't respect the Caustic and still trying to push on him. And literally this is when Caustic thrives, is when you're pushing onto him and he has gas traps all around him. So just be on the lookout for Caustic, because I really feel like he's going to shine this season. And with that being said, I do want to throw out one more team comp out there just based around Caustic. And I'm going to say Caustic, Watson, and Pathfinder. Now the reason why I say this comp is because it's pretty hard for one trapper, so either Caustic or Watson, to hold down the building. But if you put both of them together, you can basically section off the first and second floor of a building just by using their utilities efficiently. So all in all, 4 team comps, but literally guys, that brings us to the end of the video. I appreciate you guys for sticking through this far in the video. It's been a long video, but I think there's a lot of great information in this video. So what do you guys think? Do you think any champ that I put on this list deserves more love? I'm sure there's some Bloodhound mains out there that are pissed because he's last on this list for a second season. So light it up in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think are going to be the best champions, what comps are working for you and your squad mates. And that does it for me, guys. It's been your boy Kong, and I will see you all next time.
Dang it, dude. The turbocharger let me down, bro.